One of the biggest reasons that the files from the Epstein stuff aren't being released is because there's a Secrets Act. And anyone who signs a Rockefeller Standard Oil Interest Certificate is protected by it somewhat. And if the president signs it, then we definitely can't reveal that it's actually the Crown in England that's been siphoning the bulk of U.S. mineral rights and royalties and securities with Germany. See, if you just always ask Queen Elizabeth, who are you paying back on this coin in 1994? Germany. Yep, Germany. And actually, coincidentally, he was featured on the coin when JFK goes to Germany in July of 1993, and that's the same month that John Jack Dunlap dies. But yeah, anytime that you go to a country and someone presents you with a coin with both your faces on it, that means they're coming for you. They're taking half your trust. They're twinning. And then Maple. I mean, Maple, but by 2013, Elizabeth was in dollars. Boom, boom, boom. Because the goal, especially when you get to this point, on some of the big target families, if you can just end it and quietly siphon or kill off the remaining heirs, all the better, all the better. But this plot is predicated on a few things that make it highly immoral, but really illegal from a federal level and global level. And it also involves the CIA. So Kerr, I mean, before I even looked into anything relating to the CIA, I already mapped out every single person who was involved, like from a facilitator perspective, from a member perspective, and then how much. And I'm really close. Like the most I've ever had as a discrepancy is 10% from me estimating to what I'm confirming. But Kerr, as of 1977, 77 is a symbol. It's a kind of a code word. 77. 6777. So 77 represents the year of the supposed coal ceiling. Gerald Ford was a president that was put in office after Nixon was impeached, and then he selected Nelson Rockefeller. And again, if we are supposed to bar people who are standard interest holders from U.S. politics, I don't know why we'd even let Nelson Rockefeller be a general counsel anywhere. But okay, I love the fact that I work in platform fraud and I was able to analyze so many different elements here. And we have Sarah L. Dunlap that is created as an annex at the time that George H. Dunlap thinks that he's stealing this coal federally so that my family would be protected as would be every other citizen, right? No, not them. So Gerald Ford's real name, and this is always a big red flag, is actually Leslie King. Leslie King. And so under Leslie King, which then ends up becoming James King, all of this stuff is transferred. Half. And again, it's half and then half. It makes it less likely to get caught, right? Mm-hmm. And then we have Sam coming back, and that's Victor, that's Victoria, Sam Dunlap. And that was basically Sam Bush. So Sam Bush was in Columbus, Ohio, assuming the identity, So what they call it twinning. So if you have your target family tree, like this one, you basically just have to figure out how you're going to end the tree so there's no more heirs, or add in a fake ex-wife. So Clara Bush is supposedly Sam Bush's sister. Neat, huh? Yeah, Charles and Clara. And then she's married to Charles Bush too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But the CIA, let's go back to it. So while they're stealing the coal, this is my favorite. They open up AC Dunlap's 1976, and this is legitimately given to me from the Harrison County Heritage Society. They have no record of any of them. That's what happens when you have the CIA and, everybody like George Bush. It's very easy when it's only 2 counties. But I remembered that my great-grandpa was a doctor. He was a veterinarian. And I said, can I see the physicians during the Civil War? And sure enough, there he was. And she then goes in the back and goes, oh, here he is. Well, he died in 67 when they were it was Big Papi, originally doing the plot. They're doing it again, so they're just actually saying that he's dying in 76 in line with Harry Wilton. But not just that. By now, my mom is married. And, if you're the CIA and World War II was one of the most profitable payouts of all time. Why not open up some soldiers, historical? I mean, this says that it's for an event in 1949. See the International Convention on International Road Traffic. It's issued out of Virginia, and it is an international driving permit for both my grandfather and my grandmother, Rosemary, all at the same time, because Big Papi was about to become vice president, and even though he signed a quitclaim that he couldn't run for office, the Farm Bureau, I hear, let him because they knew he was going to do this again. The Rockefeller standard interest holders never stop. They never do. They never do. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's like, if you knew your life and your whole family were on the line, wouldn't you stop? I mean, even if you didn't care about going to jail. But they, like Jeffrey Epstein, feel like they're above the law, and they feel like they've taken over the United States by now because they busted all these trusts formally. But I want to remind everybody, I'm going to blow that out of the water. And more importantly, why are we paying CIA agents or anybody who is involved in accessing U.S. federal documents and historical documents if they are working to liquidate securities, mineral rights, and ultimately are poisoning the land and distributing chemicals with intent to harm Americans? That requires foreign adversaries. So, hey, Queen Bee or, King Charles, know you're new on the throne. I'm not sure if you read the handbook. There are laws in place if you are going to engage in chemical biowarfare activity, which I've confirmed over and over and over again. Likewise, if you are going to be amending federal laws that were put in place with DC on a state level, that's actually illegal. And I know that you guys kind of got ahead of yourself, and you had George W. Bush kind of acting as president for 8 years as puppet, but we didn't put him in office. And actually, George Bush and I'm assuming George W. would have both had to sign quitclaims, but that doesn't matter either way because Dick Cheney accepted assets from my father's estate. And if you look at the Energy Task Force, what they're doing is the CIA, they're not just working here. They are creating alias shadow people, and they're doing it using veteran-level benefits. But let's take Lee Harvey Oswald, for example. He's also known as Alec James Hidell, a.k.a. Hidwell. So Alex or Alexander. But James, James goes a long way because James King is how they are liquidating the Scottish assets. Like, I can't believe Trump gave, because we're Scottish royalty and it was titled to the Scottish Trust here, like it was part of the Steiner Washington land patent. But this says it was a fake draft card, right? And then we have John Charles McKibbins, and then I see where Alan Dulles was setting him up with stuff. Yeah, Alan Dulles was definitely setting all this up. But there's two separate entries, and I'm assuming these are Vietnam draft cards. Well, all of a sudden I was like, uh-oh. When did they digitize Social Security and it was basically in line with this whole thing? Then I'm like, uh-oh. Were there any instances of, yeah, there were, oh my God. Vietnam and war has been 100% set up. And I will show you exactly how they're doing it. Well, we got to talk about the post office because I have an issue with that too. It's out of Connecticut. The post office is both a speakeasy and a post office, and it's issuing draft cards. Nope. But here's where the Farm Bureau securities are converted to like Landmark, and they're just going through aliases. This is not Daniel Lee Stoner, the right one. You guys missed it. $102 million. Oops. Last but not least, in addition to the Secret Service issuing driving permits international, they also create aliases when we go to those countries. Like my dad went to Germany, I went to Germany and JFK, and we all flew out of different airports. And I'm like, man, first time, second time, third time, that's pretty much Germany. That's the German way. But they create veteran discharges. And I come to find out that they automatically get issued a veteran's grave. What if, wait, automatically? Because I saw that my dad had been issued a deed for a veteran's grave in Stark County, even though he didn't live there and he didn't die there. And they're like, oh, well, we issue that just automatically because it had it on their ID. No, it come to find out that these guys, this was part of the plot. Churchill and a few other people got their hands on the Revolutionary Soldier Farm, information, knowing that there had been all the acreage and mineral rights granted in trust. They hijack a gravesite with a fake death, and then they siphon the mineral rights from the other people buried there. And then they got really smart, and they're like, why don't we just kill the founders of the Farm Bureau? And so the Kennedys, rose. The reason they created these international driving permits, we got John and Rose. And if you open up the Energy Task Force list, and actually anyone takes the time to audit it, almost every single company was set up to liquidate and waterfall assets and expire. Enron was paying Germany $71 million like a month. And it even says it's Germany. Yeah, here you go, Germany, $71 million, boom, 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 until it's gone, right? And then almost every single entity that is on our Energy Task Force that was created the first 9 days of office was set up as a terrorist organization. And then my cousin had said if the American Farm Bureau or the American Petroleum Institute is ever reinstated, it'll be worse than Pearl Harbor. Okay, all right. And then they're both on there? But the best part is the names. John Runyon is an alias created specifically to be my dad's, his shadow. And to see that was set up ahead of 9/11. And then there's also Albert Dunlap. Albert Dunlap, I think, is my mother, and that really is upsetting because she was hit by a car very similar to Princess Diana. It was a horrible accident. She's lucky to have lived. And then when I look at the date, it's the same freaking day. Like, it's the same day. And why is that? Is because in addition to all of this, they call it, what do they call it? Accelerate life insurance. Accelerate life insurance. If they've got to get something done, they got to get something done. And this is why having this whole plot and anyone who ever would have attacked anyone in agriculture, but I got the goal sheet for the Farm Bureau, and there's a reason that Queen Elizabeth made her little movie by 2115. It's 100 years after 2015, is because that's when, she finally was like, oh, I got this trust. But they claim they were of Scottish descent. Then they claim they were distant cousins to George Washington through the Spencers. And so it is the Little Johns that claim the Dunlap coal. They actually claimed our church and our cemetery. I'd like that back. And so I don't know. Is that too much to ask for? Because you guys come and you dig up our graves. I mean, they dug up Oswald. And I mean, I don't know if they've dug up Harry and moved them or if they're just changing our gravestones. Either way, the ability to live happily and safely is a human right in our country, and death right and where you want to be buried is none of the royals' business. Okay? Protected class. Globally, we have something where you cannot take advantage of someone who cannot talk or speak for themselves. So the royals made themselves the guardian over all heirs. So Jeffrey Epstein's little power of attorney and them, they just think they're crazy. I mean, they steal babies. That's why there's a Sarah and then there's a Sarah, because my grandmother's name was Sarah and her grandmother's name was Sarah. My grandma went by Sally. They have so much fun with it. Because they have nothing more to do other than worry if Nostradamus' prediction was right. And it is, my friend. The Windsors will not be in that house anymore. Finally, in the 60s, I saw that Charles Harding Churchill was in Afghanistan. What? Yeah, in the 60s, letter. Oh, he's in Afghanistan, and the U.S. is paying his benefits to be there. I'm like, what? Well, that just goes to show that they were targeting the Middle East for oil. And the minute they found out that Princess Diana was dating Dodi Al-Fayed, whoo, double trouble. Yeah, they took out life insurance policies on both of them. And then it is in her death that they claim that there were no additional heirs to all these assets. But again, you might say, well, that's not impossible. It's impossible. Who would ever approve it? Well, it's kind of believable because there aren't that many of us left. We keep a very low profile. and they're working through a variety of spies. Don't call them CIA agents, they're spies. They're spies. And I'm upset about it because at the end of the day, Kirkland, I saw where his life insurance policy was taken out. I don't want to live in a world where, I mean, if anyone thinks money will bring you happiness, it's not yours. They're transferring all of this offshore, and trust me, it's not going to go well. There's not going to be that much room in those bunkers. They're building towns underneath the country. But just know there's a rule in this country, and if you take a bribe that threatens the safety of agriculture, you're a traitor. It's the worst form of it. And John, he basically didn't understand how the plot worked and what the ultimate end goal was going to be. I don't want to wait for Princess or the Queen's 100-year movie. I mean, what the? Well, by the way, George did the same thing, and Prescott Bush dug up Geronimo, and again, they dig people up in 1915, and I guarantee he did the same thing because it's 2015 that they auction him off, the skull and crossbones. Who needs it? Who needs that skull? Who needs that ballot box? Well, what would Princess Diana be doing at the Elms on the very day that my grandfather, Daniel Lee Stoner, who had become the future trustee of the Steiner land patents, he passes away on 7/7 of 1981, and racing to the altar, he needed some photos at the Elms of the guest book of Princess, lovely Diana Spencer, proving that her cousins do exist. Her American cousins, we're here. We're here. Yeah, we do exist, and they'll mention that they live in Chillicothe or all these different places. The name is Work, Layman, whatever. But it's a plot that they've had a lot of fun with, and there was a lot of money. But let me tell you this. I saw that it was set up under a rabbi trust, and I know that that was one of the annex nationwide. It is like $29 trillion through that I've tracked through that channel. It went through India. Well, we got to talk about Australia too. You guys are, but it went through India, and then Prince Charles was like, "Oh yeah, India owed me all this money." Oh really? Like $43 trillion? This is not a world that anyone will want to live in, regardless of how much anyone loves money. Oh my God, this is disgusting.